So, hello and welcome to another episode of the Turn 5 podcast. It's just me and Ben this week, and we are here to take you through the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and
Great race.
surrounding events. We are going to kick it off, however, with a piece of breaking news that came out, I don't know, about an hour ago. Felipe Massa has indeed filed his lawsuit against Formula One. Who else was it? Bernie, I think it was, and
The little raker.
and the FIA, which is wild. So yeah,
Against FIA, Formula One, and Bernie Eccleston.
So yeah, that's a bit
Missing out by 1 point on the 2008 World Drivers' Championship.
It's a bit wild. We'll see where that one goes, but I don't imagine it going all that far, really.
Even if it does and he gets the title, no one really cares. It happened 14 years ago. But not 14 years ago, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Quick maths.
So, I don't know, bit of a pointless exercise, I think, but hey, he's got to do what he's got to do. Yeah, that's your breaking news. that's it. Saudi Arabia was interesting, sort of.
I had great fun.
Carlos Sainz took part in FP1 and FP2, even though he felt unwell, and was then substituted by Oliver Behrman after Carlos decided to have surgery and have his appendix removed. There was a video of him like walking around the paddock, and seeing the way he's walking, like after his operation, man, just go home and get in bed. Like, nobody expects you to be that. We didn't see Alex the whole weekend, and he didn't even take part in FP1. You know?
Car's just built different.
Yeah, but like, just looking at the way he's walking, it's like, just take a day off, you know? Nobody expects you to be there. You've just had an operation. So,
Yeah.
But, I mean, nice to see him. Nice to see he's doing well, but like, he's walking so gingerly. It's like, just take a day, you know? It'll be fine. The paddock will survive. But that meant that Oliver Behrman got drafted in for FP3 onwards. And I have to say, I think he did a pretty stellar job. He was, I think it was about 0.03 of a second short of Hamilton, who was in P10 in Q2, which meant that Behrman qualified 11th. And then in the race, had decent pace and managed to finish 7th overall to secure points.
Well done to him.
So, yeah, I'd say that is a solid debut performance. He's also like I think it was, they said it was the youngest Ferrari driver in history, which is a wild stat to have. But then also, like, they were talking about it after the race. It was like, oh yeah, just casually afterwards. Yeah, I beat Lewis Hamilton. One race, beat Lewis, done. Retire
now.
I mean, obviously, Max dominated from the front. We did have the safety car for when Lance Stroll binned it, which produced probably the team radio of the season already.
Haven't even heard it.
Oh my god, it's brilliant. Lance's race engineer. Lance says, "Oh, I've hit the wall." Race engineer, "Can you bring it back?" Lance, "No, I'm in the fucking wall."
Yeah, they completely cut that out of the highlights. They showed Lance crash. Because it's like on board with Behrman trying to get past Sonoda, is it? Or something? And then it's just Stroll in the wall.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know. It might be on the extended highlights if you watch it on.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
But then I think I'd have to watch it on like Channel 4 and whatever. Too much effort for that. It's not worth an hour.
No, not just for that. I'll see if I can
20
find it.
minutes was long enough.
I'll see if I can find a clip and I'll ping it over to you later. So that was the early safety car. Some people took advantage of that and decided to swap their tyres then and there. Other people stayed out, so it meant that Lando Norris led the race for a little bit, but staying out turned out to be sort of the wrong decision in the end. A safety car, they sort of needed another safety car later on to sort of like actually make it worthwhile.
Yeah, but then if Lando did box, would he have got screwed with
traffic and
yeah,
we saw
traffic in the pit lane as well.
Perez got given a 5-second penalty for an unsafe release in front of Alonso, I think
Yeah,
it was.
they didn't even show that.
Oh, brilliant. Tsunoda got a 5-second penalty for an unsafe release.
I've seen that.
Before the race even started.
Yeah.
That's wild. I've read the FIA document on that one because I was like, when did this happen? Because I did not see it at any point in the race. Because I tuned in like just before the start of the race. And it was like, oh yeah, the reconnaissance laps count as part of the race. And if this incident had occurred during the race proper, it would generate a 5-second time penalty and a 1 penalty point on their driver's license, on their super license. And while we think, yes, give him the 5-second penalty because that was indeed an unsafe release, because it wasn't in the race proper, we're not going to give him the point.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Like, it's not Sonoda's like choice to go out at that time, is it?
He kind of missed his number one mechanic's no signal. So
right,
Tsunoda did done goof. I mean, yes and no, but like, you know, it's before the race has even started. It's kind of like meh at that point.
Left 2 penalty points.
But Perez will have got a penalty point. So I need to check on how many penalty points Perez has now, because he could be getting close. Other than that,
you have a race then.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, what happened? Not a lot, really.
You're meant to tell me. I haven't seen it.
This is. I'm trying to remember. It was kind of just. There was a bit processional.
Fucking shite.
I mean, Max just kind of stormed out in front again, as per. Perez actually did a decent enough job to maintain second, even with his 5-second penalty.
All I done was because there was England Ireland on in the background as we're just having pre-drinks. I looked at my phone because I knew the Grand Prix was on. Seeing what was happening, Max was like 8 seconds in front. I was like, "Yeah, that's done."
It wasn't like the most exciting. The funniest bits were probably the fact that okay, so last season to this season, there's been a slight tweak in the rulings of leaving the track and gaining advantage, and
Magnussen
and causing a collision. Those default penalties have been increased from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. Magnussen got one of each. So Magnussen suddenly generated 20 seconds of time penalties. And Haas were like, you know what? Stay out. Just stay there. So they left him out for as long as humanly possible. And it meant that Hulkenberg got far enough up the road that he had a whole pit stop behind to his teammate so that they could get him in and out in front of Magnussen. So Magnussen was just holding everyone up. And it was the best kind of like Haas shithousery you could have managed, because K-Mag was like, sure, might not be getting a point for this, but my teammate will. So they managed to manufacture themselves a 10th place finish with Hulkenberg with their other car.
Magnussen, he went from 11th to 12th.
Yeah.
With 20 seconds of penalties.
Wild. I mean, big brain from Haas there. You can't deny that. That was a
Yeah.
solid strategy move. Behrman. I mean, you got to commend Behrman on his 7th place. That was a solid performance. His headrest after the race, though, oh my god! So you know they have those like cushioned inserts that they all like take out at the end. The side of his headrest was just absolutely crunched at the end of the race. The other side was like pretty much pristine, but this one side was just had a massive fold in it.
Oh, Jesus.
It's just like I think it was Behrman, because Behrman put it on pole in F2 quali, and then he did Formula 1 quali. And somebody on Twitter was like, yeah, to give you an idea of the difference, Behrman's pole lap in F2 was 9 seconds a lap slower than his lap in F1. And with the amount of speed that they carry comes obviously a very much increased amount of G-force, and so it's kind of understandable that he's just suddenly been neck in the side. Just give it a rest, you know. But I mean, will we see him again in Australia? It's kind of up in the air at this point. It will depend on Carlos's rate of recovery. Obviously, Alex missed 2 races when he had his appendix removed, but those were back-to-back weeks. And then there was a week off before we went to Singapore, which is when Alex returned. Carlos has the week gap now, and then it's Australia. So it's kind of...
what was it, to freeze, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he got the point in Monza, and then whatever race was after that.
Dutch.
Who?
Yeah, but I think that's the other side of it. Ollie Behrman was on pole in F2 and then didn't take part in any of the races that weekend. It's his 2nd season in F2, and you'd be expecting him to mount a title challenge. Kind of damaged his title charge. Because he wasn't there.
Yeah, but it's also put him in a spotlight in F1.
Yeah, it's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Like, but he still needs his super license points, is the issue.
Yeah, but you're not going to just turn down the chance to drive an F1 car.
But then again, if he's done a race, has he already got enough? He must do, surely. If he's already done a race, surely he's got enough super license points.
I don't know.
So, but
put him in the shop window.
If he misses out Australia as well, I think his F2 champion hopes are probably dashed this year at least. But at the same time, Ferrari want him for their FP1 sessions. Haas want him for their FP1 sessions. So he's got potentially 4 FP1s in him, even if he doesn't come back for Australia. So we could be seeing a lot more of Ollie Behrman just yet. And I mean, I'd imagine we should. He's put a big stamp on his name and said, this is what I'm capable of with very minimal practice. Like watching his quali laps was nuts because he was so close to the wall. He was fully pushing. Like there was nothing hold back there, which was amazing. And he'd had like an hour's practice. And that was in an FP1 session in the day, and now it's like track temperature's changed, it's nighttime now. Full send, low fuel, new tyres. Fair play. Love that. Any other stories? What else was there? Straw crash. I'd say that's probably all the main points covered, really.
Gasly broke down after one lap.
Yeah, Gasly didn't even make it to the fucking grid.
Did he not?
No.
Oh.
No, he didn't start, as far as I'm aware. That was a
Danny
transmission.
Rick fucking span.
Yeah, Danny Rick spun it. That was, yeah.
And everyone's like, Danny Rick, come outside, where are you?
He dropped it on a curb. I mean, it's fair enough, to be honest. But little mistakes cost things. And I mean, it cost him a chance at, I think, closing up to the guy in front. He was close to the guy in front of him. Would he have been able to get past? Maybe, maybe not.
Have you seen the Constructors' Championship?
Was it just Red Bull and then a massive
Right.
gap?
So there's the top five: Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin. In sixth place, Haas with 1 point.
Good old Hulkenberg.
It's going to be the first time in history that like P6 gets P6 for like 10 points. That's it.
Because Ollie Behrman got like 6 points, didn't he? Where's he in the drivers?
He's top 10 now.
He's top
10th. It's exactly 10th.
Man's made one appearance, got 10th.
He's got 6 times the amount of points as Stroll.
That's banter. It's probably because he's 6 times the driver Stroll is. Oh. Right, shall we run through these predictions? All right, let's start with the Perez position predictor. Congratulations, Ben. You were spot on.
Get it.
You got both quali and you got both quali and the race right. Third in qualifying, second in the race. Kind of gutted. I was one off. I said 2 and 2. Bold predictions. You said K-Mag points. No. Hulkenberg.
Close.
I mean, penalty points, yes. Actual points, no. Chris said no DNFs. Well, that was kind of buggered the minute Gasly tried to make his reconnaissance lap. And even if he tried to argue that was a do not start, we had Lance Stroll. Nia said Alpine top of the midfield. Absolutely not. And I said Logan Sargent had a crash-free weekend. And he did.
He did. Well done.
What an improvement from the man. Lapdown showdown. Everyone got it wrong, but that means, Ben, you were the closest.
Get it on.
You said Logan Sargent on lap 32 and 1 lap down. The official result was Valtteri Bottas 37 1 lap down.
Wow.
So you win by virtue of being the person with the closest lap count.
Went on count back.
Yeah. Podium predictions. Socials. SK scored 2 points for putting Perez and Verstappen on the podium in the wrong order. And M scored 4 points for saying Verstappen would win and putting Leclerc in the wrong spot. Both of them were mildly buggered by the fact that they had Sainz on the podium.
Yeah.
Speaking of having Sainz on the podium, Chris was last this week with 3 points for saying Verstappen pole and Perez and Verstappen in the wrong order. Nia and Sonia were joint third with 5 points. I was second with 7 points. And Ben, in the second race of the season, has done the full house and got the maximum 16 points for saying
stop doing predictions now.
Verstappen pole, Verstappen win, Perez second, and Leclerc third.
Easy work. I shouldn't even watch the race anymore, really, should I?
No.
Do predictions and that's it.
So that means the championship order is Chris in 5th on 7 points, Nia in 4th on 10 points, myself in 3rd on 11, Sonia in 2nd on 12, and Ben taking an absolutely barnstorming 9-point lead on 21 points.
Nice.
I will close you down. I will get this.
I mean, you got 22 races to go, so...
Yeah. We also had F2 action this weekend. I caught bits of it, but I didn't see a lot. Obviously, Ollie Behrman put it on pole with Kush Miney and Jack Crawford behind him. Now, what I didn't realise is that, yes, there are 2 points for pole position in Formula 2, but you don't get those points until you line up on the grid on Sunday. So Ollie Behrman did not get those 2 points for pole position, and instead Kush Miney did. So
did someone get disqualified?
Yes, in the sprint race, Richard Verschoor crossed the road first, but he was disqualified for a technical infringement, which promoted Dennis Hauger to the win, Paul Aron to P2, and Fittipaldi to third. And then in the feature race, Fittipaldi won, Kushmaini got second, and Dennis Hauger got third, which means that the overall championship standing is Zane Maloney on 47, Fittipaldi up to second on 32, and Dennis Hauger up to third on 31. That's how I'm going to do it this season. I'm just going to do the top three. I think that's fair enough. We also had the opening rounds, plural, of the F1 Academy. F1 Academy.
There was the Mercedes driver who won the race, and then they carried on pushing after.
Yeah, that was fun. So, for those of you who don't know, F1 Academy has 2 qualifying sessions and 2 races. Each qualifying session sets the grid for each race. So, get ready for a sense of deja vu here. Qualifying 1 was Pan, Pulling, and Vague. Qualifying 2 was Pan, Pulling, and Vague. Race 1 was Pan, Pulling, and Vague. And race 2, as it finished on the road, was Pan, Pulling, and Vague. However, Pan didn't see the checkered flag, and the team had all taken their headsets off to celebrate, so Pan kept pushing. Pan took the checkered flag twice, which is...
She ran out of fuel.
No, she just took the checkered flag twice, which is a big no-no, because it's like safety concerns. Because obviously the race is finished, but she's still going flat out.
She's still...
So they eventually got on the radio to her to tell her, what are you doing? Slow down. But the stewards were, we'll say, less than impressed. She received a 20-second time penalty, and that dumped her from first down to 9th. Which meant that the race 2 results ended as Pulling, Vague, and Marty. So the overall championship standings, the top 3 are Pulling on 44, Vague on 33, and Pan on 32. Notable this weekend, I'd say Leah Block was really unlucky this weekend. Leah Block being the daughter of Ken Block, the Hoonigan legend.
But she is in F1 Academy?
Yeah, she's the Williams driver.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's her first open-wheeled single-seater series. She transferred from rallycross into open-wheel single-seaters. When I first checked in on the practice session...
Is she like 15 or something?
I've got no idea. It depresses me to look at how young some of these people are. But when I first checked in on the practice session, Leah was at the bottom of the timings, 9 seconds a lap slower than the lead time. And then when I last looked in, she was like right up in there in like the top 5-6 places.
She's 17.
In race 1, she got unlucky, clarted a curb on the penultimate lap and ended up hitting the wall. So I was running in a points paying position. I think she was in 7th at the time. So she lost out on points there. And then in race 2, she came around turn 1 to be met by a car that was facing sideways and pulled out in front of her. So made contact and had to get a new nose cone. Was still running in like 11th, to be fair. Then a couple of people ahead got involved in incidents and was in the points, but she had a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so she lost out on points again, which was kind of gutting. But overall, yeah, I'd say she had an unlucky weekend, but it was a solid performance for someone who's not driven single-seaters, open-wheeled single-seaters before.
Talent.
Yeah. It looks like a strong field, but given the way this weekends have gone, I'd say we'll be hearing a lot from Pan, Pulling, and Vig.
Yeah, that's your 8th place.
So that's about all of it for this week. next week we'll be bringing you our predictions ahead of the Australian Grand Prix, which will have F1, F2, and F3 there. I don't think the Academy's going. No, the Academy's next back in Miami. So we have that a little bit of a wait before that one comes back.
They get all the good tracks, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say that Saudi Arabia was probably the best track for these new cars. They're sort of F4 equivalent machinery, to put it into sort of like the tiers. That's what the commentators were saying. But yeah, so we'll be back next week to give you all of our predictions ahead of the crack of dawn start of Australia. So until next time, thank you for listening and or watching, and goodbye.